Getting the smile and confidence you've been dreaming about, all from the comfort of your home, isn't a total mystery with Byte clear aligners. Just don't be surprised if all your friends start asking, "What's your secret?" Begin by ordering your at-home impression kit today for only $14.95. Byte clear aligners are doctor-directed and delivered to your door. Treatment costs thousands less than braces, plus they offer flexible financing, accept eligible insurance, and you can pay with your HSA FSA. Get 80% off your impression kit when you use code WONDERY at Byte.com. That's BYTE.com. Start your confidence journey today with Byte.
As a person with a very deep voice, I'm hired all the time for advertising campaigns. But a deep voice doesn't sell B2B, and advertising on the wrong platform doesn't sell B2B either. That's why if you're a B2B marketer, you should use LinkedIn ads. LinkedIn has the targeting capabilities to help you reach the world's largest professional audience. That's right, over 70 million decision makers all in one place. All the big wigs, then medium wigs, also small wigs who are on the path to becoming big wigs. Okay, that's enough about wigs. LinkedIn ads allows you to focus on getting your B2B message to the right people. So, does that mean you should use ads on LinkedIn instead of hiring me, the man with the deepest voice in the world? Yes. Yes, it does. Get started today and see why LinkedIn is the place to be to be. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply.
Acast powers the world's best podcasts. Here's a show that we recommend.
What is The Briefing Room? It's a behind-the-scenes look at how the criminal justice system works and the lives of the people within that system.
If you love true crime, well, these are the real people who do the job every day of making sure justice is served.
Hi, I'm Detective Dave.
I'm Detective Dan. Together we have decades of experience in local law enforcement, a profession that we think is often misunderstood.
So we're going to explore how to do it right, and we won't shy away from when it's done wrong. These are stories you'll hear nowhere else. Unique, frank, and unvarnished.
From the team that brought you Small Town Dicks, this is The Briefing Room. Episode 1 drops on August 30th.
We'll meet you in the briefing room.
Acast helps creators launch, grow, and monetize their podcasts everywhere. Acast.com.
There's a lack of presents in my stocking, and my chimney needs a good unblocking. Come on, Santa dear, I've been waiting for you. Merry Christmas.
You can't see me, but I'm dancing, and then I realized that this is not a video format. This is an audio format, so y'all can't see me dancing back and forth, but hell yeah. Merry Christmas, everybody. Merry weird Christmas.
And happy holidays for those that don't celebrate.
Yeah, happy holidays. Yeah, I hope that this will be a nice little present to you if you're spending the holidays in a different way than you usually are. So,
and just remember, let me tell you, if you're feeling frozen stiff, my fire's burning hot for you. Before you take a nap, let me sit upon your lap. There's only one gift that I want to unwrap when you're near. Baby, it's that time of year. This will make sense in like a few minutes once we talk about this movie. But I have been singing songs from this particular movie all day ever since a certain someone decided to watch it. And so that was that was what you get.
That was a beautiful introduction.
Oh my God. Yes. Before we do talk about our movies, we did get three new reviews.
Should we do our intro? Our usual intro?
Oh, fuck.
We don't have to.
You guys, I think we've just checked out. We just finished recording next week's episode, and I think this year is officially done.
Yeah, whatever. You guys know who we are. We told you it's going to be about Christmas. This is coming out on Christmas Day.
It really is.
You know the drill.
You do know the drill at this point.
And if you don't, welcome.
What do we talk about this week, Mary Beth?
We're talking Christmas. We're talking new Christmas horror. We're talking French Christmas horror. And we're talking classic Christmas horror. We got the spectrum of Christmas horror. And I'm so excited. But we have a brief bit of housekeeping before we get to our Christmas watches.
Yes, we do have 3 new reviews that came in. And
yay! Thank you!
Part of me makes me wonder if people are putting these in because of my ill attempt at humor by saying if we get to 40, I will give myself 40 birthday spankings next month. Because we've gotten 4 in since I said that.
People want to see you spank yourself, Terry.
Oh, dear. No one needs to see that.
You gotta fulfill your prompt.
Well, 36 more reviews. You guys have until January 14th. 36 more reviews. You do that, and I will somehow record myself doing this, yes.
Jesus Christ, I'm so excited.
I'm fairly convinced that we're not going to get 36 more reviews in between Christmas and the 14th. So I'm fairly certain I'm okay on this, but...
Well, now I'm going to start a massive campaign.
Oh, God.
Not that and that makes it sound like I want to see you spank yourself. That's not necessarily true. I just think that'd be funny. Hope no one thinks I'm some kind of fucking weirdo. But that's fine. That's right. That's fine. It's all good. Anyway.
Yeah.
Also, someone wrote a review that said #Terry Beth. And it's the best thing I've ever heard.
I love it.
So I love it so much. So thank you for whoever wrote that review and said #Terry Beth, because it's my new favorite thing.
It is phenomenal. I loved it. I saw that and I just started laughing.
Terry sent it to me and I was like, oh my fucking God, this is the best ever.
And it does feel nice that when people say that we have so much chemistry together, because I think we do.
I do too.
I love talking.
You're my friend. I'm talking to you.
We're mushy.
I'm so glad we're friends.
No.
Okay, sorry, y'all. You know what? No, I'm not apologizing.
No.
Love it.
Me neither.
Anyway. Christmas horror.
So let's start with mine, because I'm more excited to talk about yours, and I think it'd be better to end on.
Cool.
I put out on Twitter which Silent Night, Deadly Night I should see. And because I don't know if you know this, Mary Beth, but Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2 is an 88-minute movie that uses 40 minutes of the previous movie.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so I kept hearing, like, and I got conflicting reports on whether I should just skip the first one and watch the second one, or if I should watch the first one and not watch the second one, or whatever the case may be. So I just was like, fuck it. I'm going to watch both. I didn't really care for them. I'm gonna be honest.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So,
I've heard they're like they're like one of those quintessential Christmas horror movies that I have not watched yet, but okay.
Yeah,
Tell
so
me
the
more.
first one, Silent Night, Deadly Night, I think what's more interesting about the movie is the reaction to the movie that got it pulled from theaters within 2 weeks of it premiering.
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
People were not happy with the idea of a person dressed as Santa going around killing people.
Excuse me. Why does that make me laugh? It just is like, there's so many other things to be worried about in this world.
The PTA fought to have it removed from theaters, and the
PTA?
Due to the subject matter and the fact that it was shown around Christmas. Television advertisements, which air between episodes of family-friendly series, led to parents complaining that their children were terrified of Santa Claus.
Good.
Large crowds of mostly angry families formed at theaters and malls around the nation to protest the film.
Oh my God. Karen.
In response to this, TriStar Pictures, the film's original distributor, pulled all ads for the film 6 days after its release, and then it was then withdrawn shortly thereafter due to the controversy. You had like this got so crazy. So Gene Siskel, Siskel and Edric condemned the film, and Siskel went as far to read names of the film's production crew on air, telling them, "Shame on you." And he said that all the money the filmmakers were making off this film was blood money. You had Leonard Maltin denouncing the film as a worthless splatter film, gave it 0 stars, asking what's next. The Easter Bunny is a child killer. Like, the reaction to this film...
I'd watch the fuck out of that.
Oh, I would too. But the reaction to this film was ridiculous. And I think that is a lot more interesting than the actual film, which is actually kind of sad. It's a very sad movie about this kid who, like, the opening scene, they're going to visit, this family's going to visit the grandfather, and the kid it's like on Christmas, and the kid is so, at first he's excited. He's like, well, what? I need to get back home, so I'm asleep so Santa comes. And then they meet with the grandfather, and when it's just the grandfather and him, this grandfather who's supposedly senile and doesn't talk, leans over to him and tells him that he needs to, that Christmas Eve is the scariest night of the year. You know what happens on Christmas Eve? You know about Santa Claus? Well, he only brings presents to those that have been good all year. All the other ones, all the naughty ones, he punishes. And so he sets this like
Jesus Christ,
this thought in this little kid's head about Santa being that if he's naughty, and he's like, have you been naughty at all? And the kid's like, yeah, I have been. And he's like, well, if you see Santa, you need to run.
Jesus Christ.
And then he goes back to being like the senile man and like not like talking to anyone. And so they're on the way home, this Santa guy dressed in the Santa suit who has robbed a liquor store holds up the car, shoots the dad, attempts to rape the mother, and then murders her, all in front of the baby and this poor kid, who is then sent to an orphanage where Mother Superior beats him, and it instills in like him this idea of like punishment. And then when he's 18, he gets forced into wearing a Santa costume at the shop that he gets a job at, and it breaks his brain, and he goes on a murderous spree. But like the first 40 minutes is all about little Billy dealing with his parents being murdered, seeing
oh my God.
this idea of this weird religious idea of like sex, because like she beats the crap out of 2 people that are caught having sex at one point. And so like all of this is instilled in the first 40 minutes, and then the last 40 minutes is basically him going on a rampage and killing a bunch of people, including Linnea Quigley, who is of course naked in the most gratuitous fashion. So that's the first one.
Okay.
And then the second one focuses on his brother, Ricky, the one that was a baby when he was in the car. And the first 40 minutes of that is basically a repeat of the first 40 minutes of the first film, used as like footage of like this other kid whose name is Ricky. So Ricky and Billy. Ricky is recounting the events of the first movie that led up to poor Billy's demise, and then going on a killing spree and killing people. So it is again like the first 40 minutes are literally him talking to a psychiatrist and then filling in the events that even though he was a baby, he could somehow have perfect recollection of his parents being murdered by the Santa. Like it's ridiculous. It does bring up the very famous and internet meme of him saying "garbage day" as he's like shooting someone.
Sorry.
But it's not, this was not my cup of tea. Neither of them were. I don't know. It just, it was not it for me. Yeah. The first one was really sad. Like, I think that's what, cause I was coming into it and I was like, oh, Killer Santa, this is going to be kind of fun. And the first 40 minutes is like just depressing as all hell. And I'm like, this poor kid has such a warped sense of what right and wrong is, and a warped sense of what sex is, all because of this religious institution that like punishes him and everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Jesus. Merry
that was
Christmas.
those 2 movies.
Wow. Well, it's only going to go up from here, y'all.
Yeah, it is.
So this week, instead of Giallo, we both watched Dial Code Santa Claus.
AKA Deadly Games. AKA Game Over. AKA 36.15 Code Pierre Noel. It had a lot of titles.
Jesus.
What was this one about, Mary Beth?
Wow. So Dial Code Santa Claus is basically a very much more, it's like a more intense version of Home Alone. So Thomas, our protagonist, is a resourceful child and is left alone with his fragile grandfather on Christmas Eve. When a killer dressed as Santa Claus breaks into their house, Thomas does whatever it takes to defend his home and his grandfather, and is quickly forced to grow up. Let's keep in mind, this child is 7.
This child is 7. And he is forced to shoot Santa Claus.
He's forced to kill Santa Claus. He's got the best mullet I've ever fucking seen.
Oh my God.
This mullet is everything. But this movie, I know has been talked a lot about on Twitter as this like must-see Christmas weird horror movie. And it's so good. It is absolutely bonkers. It is definitely as reminiscent of Home Alone, but not as funny.
No, in fact, to briefly talk about this Home Alone thing, like he was going to sue the creators of Home Alone.
No shit.
Yes,
wow.
Because here's the funny thing. The funny thing is that this movie premieres at Cannes.
It premiered at Cannes.
It had a showing at Cannes.
Fuck yeah, that's so.
Yeah, so this is a French film that was not released outside of, I don't believe it was released outside of Europe. It never came here, but it did premiere at Cannes, and it did so in 1989. And what is funny is that there is a discussion by the director of Home Alone where he said that he came up with this movie while en route to Paris for a family vacation. Denied ever seeing this film and thought, he was like, oh, what if we made this movie where, he was making a list of people of things to do before he leaves, and someone jokingly told him, well, don't forget your son. And yet it was for a trip to go to Europe in 1989 where this movie had just been playing at Cannes and then had a release, because it came out, and I want to say in August of 1989. And then by February of 1990, he's making Home Alone. So the connection is a bit circumspect behind the whole thing. But he did want to sue. But then I think what I was reading was that he was afraid of not being able to find work. So he did not.
Oh.
I think he either withdrew or they reached a settlement agreement. I'm not really sure what happened behind it, but
good Lord.
Yeah.
Well, and we say Home Alone because this kid, Thomas, is like too smart for his own good. He has turned this ginormous castle where they live into like an absolutely dangerous labyrinth of trapdoors. And, he's got a trapdoor in the floor that he opens up and has a net under it.
Oh, JR.
I know. JR, he catches his dog in it. And then obviously at one point catches the killer. He has a trapdoor in his closet that goes into a secret room. And there's a trapdoor behind like a refrigerator. It's actually really cool. Like,
it really
it's very wild that this child can do this. Like, he has all these computers. He has an armband that like controls the security for the house and the security cameras. Like, this kid is absolutely bananas, and he drives a car. Like, his grandfather just like lets him drive the car around the park.
I love Grandpa.
The grandpa is so good, puppy.
I love him.
He is so sweet. And it's this kid's aging grandfather who has like terrible vision and is diabetic. And
yep.
They're just like, this kid is trying so hard. Like, the grandfather's like, no, I'll do it. And the kid's like, you can't even see, I'll do it. And this movie gets very sad. Like, it sounds ridiculous, and it is, but there's a very sad part where this kid is like has realized that like he is an adult now, and like this is just fucked up situation where he has to, like, Santa Claus is trying to kill him. And it's really, there's like a whole song about him turning into a man that was written for this movie, right, Terry?
Yeah. Yeah, it was written for the movie. And it's really sad.
Have you seen this before?
Me, I watched it. I've seen it twice now because I saw it. The first time I saw it was earlier this month because it was one of the Vinegar Syndrome 4K restorations that they had out for
cool.
Black Friday. So I bought that, and I watched it the beginning of December, and I meant to talk about it on this, and it just didn't come up. And so when we were gonna let's do something for Christmas, I'm gonna watch it again because I had such a good time watching it. But I think that it plays with fantasy and reality in such a interesting and heartbreaking way, where it's like there is like this kid obviously has grown up on action movies. Like he's presented almost as like he's Rambo getting ready, like he does weightlifting in the beginning.
The sequence where they like close up on his fucking lifting weights on like his tiny child arms when he's sweating. It was weird.
It's weird, but it also like is a perfect send up of like the movies that he watches, right? And so you have like this kind of fantasy world of like this kind of, he's a kid. You can kind of tell that he's one of those really smart kids that's often by himself an awful lot, and so he has to like make up these sort of like fantasy like outlets for what he wants to do. But there's a couple moments in the film where that sort of falls away, and you realize that he is literally just this little kid in this most precarious position. And the one that really jumped out to me at the beginning, or the first moment, was when he is climbing up on the top of his house and he's outside of his house and he just starts crying for his mom.
Oh, it's so sad. He's barefoot in the snow
as Santa is trying to like murder him.
I know. Well, and there's such an interesting like contrast here because, he wants to defend his family, but he doesn't have weapons. Like the grenades he have are plastic. He has a dart gun. And while he's able to kind of be resourceful and turn those things into potential weapons, like he dresses like Rambo, but he doesn't have a gun. Like he just has kids' toys. So it's not like this kid has the ability to like absolutely murder a guy. He just has toys. He's still a kid. And it's a really fun watch and also really sad. I did not expect to be so sad watching this movie.
No, and the last moments of when the denouement, when he is like sitting there like shock on his face of what he had to do, it's like, damn, this movie was really going there.
I know. I was like, I want to see a second one where he's an older adult and like how has the trauma affected him as a grown up. Maybe I don't want to see that, but I'm always curious.
I mean, I was going to say, I think I have seen that. It's called Silent Night, Deadly Night, and it's not good.
True. But yeah, that's the fun one. It's on Shudder for anyone who wants to watch. It is a must-see for holiday movies. The killer is absolutely bananagrams. Oh God, I didn't even mention this. The chat, the way like this guy found him is like they had a random like computer in the middle of a plaza in France. It's not really a computer, but
it's a Minitel.
Minitel, and they're both able to talk to each other. And like this guy poses as Santa. Thomas is like, "Oh my God, it's Santa. He's real." And then it's not. It's this like very strange man, and the man eventually
the entire
gets
movie
Tommy.
That it is Santa.
Yes, and then he gets Tommy's address and shows up, and like he's a killer, but also like a child, like very childish. It's not really explained why he's the way he is, but he's very disarming. Very alarming. So yes, I forgot about the Minitels like in the middle. Just like finding your next victim through that. It's very bizarre. But anyway.
Yeah, France's version of the internet before the internet.
Yeah. So that's on Shudder, everyone. Check it out. So you excited to talk about what I watched?
I am very excited to talk about what you watched.
Oh my God, Terry. I'm so excited. Okay, so first, we'll end on a positive note. First, I watched Better Watch Out.
Yeah, you did.
Which the horror queers seem to have inadvertently started quite a discourse about Better Watch Out and their amazing episode with Ariel Fisher.
Yeah, they have.
about that film. And it was I actually watched the movie because of that episode, because I really wanted to listen to it. And the dialogue that was going on was fascinating. So I really wanted to watch it. So Better Watch Out is like a home invasion movie. How do I talk about this without spoiling it?
Guys, we're going to spoil this movie.
We're going to spoil it. We're going to spoil Better Watch Out. We'll put it in the time codes in the show notes, but I'm about to spoil Better Watch Out. It starts like a home invasion movie where a babysitter is trying to protect the kid she's babysitting, and then it ends up that he has planned this whole thing to scare her so she'll fuck him. He is 12, she is 17. And it becomes this, like, the first act is like, oh my God, there's a killer. And then it was revealed that it's him and his friend. And it just kind of goes from there. It's mean as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
It is. I can't figure out my feelings. Like, I was disgusted when I was watching it, but I think that's the point. Like, I think the whole point of this movie is like a very, very intense indictment on how patriarchy has created these toxic young boys who believe they are owed something and who think that they can get whatever they want because they say they want it, which is illustrated at the very beginning when like a boy like hits a girl or destroys her snowman, and then the creepy dad sees the babysitter and goes, "You are absolutely radiant," and talks to her like she's his. And it's very much a look at that. I think what's really frustrating to me is at the end of the film, like, yes, the babysitter survives, but there isn't really like, and Ariel Fisher said this in her episode with the horror queers, but there's no punishment for the boy, really. Like, yeah, it's implied that there's going to be punishment, but you don't see it, and that is very frustrating. And this is similar, again, we're spoiling everything here, similar to the ending of Promising Young Woman here, where it's like women are battered and sacrificed, and there seems to be some kind of justice, but it doesn't feel like justice. It just feels like the gross white man is still winning, or at least is getting off better than the woman they battered. And I don't know. It's very hard to me to like really parse out my feelings, because on one hand, I know that that's kind of the point, and it does that very well. But I also think it's just like so gross and mean. And if I had to watch those kids like drink out of that bottle of champagne one more time, I was going to punch myself in the face.
You know, I think one of the things that is kind of missed with the discourse of this film is kind of when it came out. So this was released, I think it was doing festival routes in like 2016, and then it came out in 2017. And honestly, what I saw watching this film when I first saw it, because I saw it on release, was I saw that it was taking, because another case that was sort of really big within around like a 4-year period of this movie was Ethan Couch, who is better known as the influenza teen. The kid that who at the age 16 killed 4 people while driving under the influence in Texas, and then basically was said that it was influenza. It were influenza, or is that what it's called? Where it's basically like saying that it was his influence and like his rich upbringing that like caused him to not have any concept of what was happening.
And this also came out around the time that Brock Turner got
Affluenza,
sentenced.
my bad. Affluenza, not influenza.
Affluenza, okay.
Affluenza.
Well, that's also... It's like he had the flu?
My bad.
I mean, white men get away with everything, so who the fuck knows? But also Brock Turner was sentenced in 2016.
Yeah. So
3
you
months.
Right. And well, and this Ethan Couch, in April of 2016, he was sentenced to serve 2 years in prison and was released in 2018 for killing 4 people while driving under the influence of alcohol. And so I feel like this movie is coming at a time when this was a situation that was being talked about on the national on the national like discourse of like white kids coming from a very rich family getting away with shit because they are coming from an affluent family. And this movie does a really good job of kind of showcasing the inner workings of a family that is on this level of affluence, with this kid that is babied, with that he obviously does not have the best at home life with the mother, and he has this really poor concept of what is reality. And I do think this movie is very mean. I do think it is gross. It was a very uncomfortable watch for me. I never thought it was very funny once you got past like the opening act, but I think that is the point of this movie. And so I get people don't like it, and that I completely understand, but it's like whenever I hear people talk about this movie, I'm like, well, that's sort of what it's meant to make you feel.
Yeah,
So,
and the more we're talking, being able to vocalize with you is helping me kind of like think through it, because I've been kind of just like ruminating on it in my own brain.
Yeah.
I think it is successful at what it wants to do. I think what's so hard in watching it is confronting that truth. So like, this isn't really like it's like, this could happen. Like, yeah, I know like horror takes things to the extreme, but like it's extreme, but also like this is not out of the realm of possibility for something that could happen in this world. And it takes that idea of like a boy having a crush on the babysitter and realizing it to its very upsetting ending, where the boy wants to get what he wants.
Yeah, and I do think, kind of going off that, because this just popped in my head, this is something I really wanted to talk about. I do think the way the movie is structured, where you do feel in the first, or at least I did, for the first 30 minutes, not knowing what was going to happen. It's like, oh, the kid has a crush on his babysitter. Isn't that sweet? Like, oh, what a silly little kid. And then it uses that to like change everything and show you like, no, what that kid is doing in this beginning part are microaggressions. What that kid is doing is gross, and it is because he is allowed to act in this way without any consequences, that this is what's happening. And so for me, it was that kind of reversal that really like, oh, I see what this movie is trying to do.
So that's so interesting, because I thought that kid was a creep from the first minute I saw it.
Well, you know, it's funny because like I think back in when I saw this, I never really thought twice about it. I was like, oh, the kid has a crush on his babysitter. Okay, he's kind of being kind of douchey about it, but boys will be boys, you know? And so I think that seeing it now, I think, you know, it's interesting seeing this movie, and particularly now where we have had like, you know, Black Christmas come out. We've had a lot more dialogue about this kind of situation, and we have seen the sort of like reckoning of like, you know, I hate to use buzzwords, but Me Too and all that kind of thing. I think it's really kind of colored how we look back on this film for when it first came out.
Yeah, and I will say, I think that as a woman, I think I have a slightly different perspective, just like on the way that like creepy boys, like young boys, will hit on you. Like I've had that experience with kids I babysat, not obviously to this extreme, but like weird little kids, and like the way that a lot of kids, like young boys, talk to women, and how like they do think they're owed something. And I think it's a hard watch because it feels all too relevant. And I think I do actually like this movie. I never want to watch it again.
No.
I don't want to experience it again. I'm glad I watched it. I think that Ariel Fisher in her episode has some really, really awesome points about like why she hated it.
Oh yeah.
100%. But I think ultimately I enjoy it for what it's trying to say in terms of like the patriarchy is creating actual little monsters. Mm-hmm. But Jesus Christ, it's mean. It's
very mean. And like I said, I don't begrudge anyone for not liking this movie. Like I can completely understand. When I was listening to Ariel's episode, I was like, yeah, I get it. I understand. So it's a tricky movie to talk about and to navigate, I think, because of the subject matter. It's just for me, it really kind of hit home the problem with the way young white men, especially coming from an affluent family, are are taught to value life and other people.
Yes. Agreed.
It's gross.
It's disgusting. Like, it is disgusting. And so on a happier note,
How do we transition from that?
I don't know.
To talking about, don't be
like on the-
mistaken, my heart's not breaking, let them all talk, I don't give a shit, kill, marry, shag, it's all such a drag, I'm more than a last piece waiting to fit.
Wow. So that should tell you that I finally watched Anna and the Apocalypse.
Yes!
Something I've been meaning to do forever, and I finally watched it. Yay!
Because no one ever tells you when you're young. This is what you get, by the way, because
Christ,
I have been
Terry. This is
singing these songs all fucking day. Love's not like the books, the films, or the songs. We've been living in a life for far too long. I love this movie. What did you think?
It was really fun. So I was actually kind of hesitant to watch it because I'm like a little bit iffy on musicals. And I was like, ugh, a musical. But I was like, fuck it. Everyone says such great things about it. I was like singing along with like the repetition parts and I was like bobbing my head and smiling. I really enjoyed it. I think it's cheesy, but like lovely cheesy. It's definitely like Broadway, funny, like cutesy songs, but like meshed in with the zombies, especially when she's singing It's a Brand New Day. I think when she's like, it's a brand new day. And like she's waking up and going to school and like her and the boy are like dancing their way down the street and there's destruction behind them.
Yeah.
It's just it does such a good job of taking musical tropes and zombie movie tropes and putting them together into like such a unique thing that is so fun to watch. And all of the characters are so enjoyable and cool. And I love the blonde, the short hair, the girl with the short blonde hair who everyone thinks is weird. I'm like, I want to be her friend.
She's also the choreographer.
The what?
She's also the choreographer of the movie.
Hell, God damn it. Of course she is. So good.
Love her.
I got the warm fuzzies watching this movie. And the
See,
music is so catchy.
It's interesting that you say that, though, because like I find the ending to be really depressing.
Oh, yeah. So I was going to say, I find it heartwarming in the fact that there's like music and stuff, but like the ending when they're leaving, it like has this like hopeful tone, like, oh, she's finally getting out of town, but the thing that got her out of town is like a zombie apocalypse that ate everyone she loved.
Well, and what I loved is the way that it inverses that happy song about there's no such thing as a Hollywood ending. Where it's
ending,
like it's played as like this kind of Disney-esque moment of like, oh yeah, you know, we're teenagers and, you know, things aren't always going to play out how they expect. And then you have this kind of, she goes through literal hell. Like she loses people and she's staring at such an uncertain future. And it's really that song come to life. Like it's moments like that like, I'm not a huge musical fan, but it's moments like that where it's like they can kind of invert that sort of expectation and give you a movie that isn't a Hollywood ending, because it's not like a happy ending by any stretch of the means.
No. And it's like, that's just also a pretty mean movie. Like
it
nothing
really
is sacred. No one is sacred. Like it goes into those, like, despite the kind of cheery tone that it strikes with it being Christmas in the music, it doesn't keep anyone safe. Like in most zombie movies, like, you know, the people that you love in this movie, you don't know who's going to make it or not. No. And again, because it's a musical, you're like, oh, it'll be happy and like the people will make it through. But it's like, ooh, but no. So I thought it was such a genius melding of those tropes together.
Yeah.
Into one weird, delightful Christmas horror movie.
Plus it has the fish wrap.
The what?
The fish wrap.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Oh, and Savage is one of the best antagonists I've seen in a very long time. The headmaster. He's so good. He is disgusting, and I love him.
He was in Game of Thrones.
Okay, he looked really familiar.
He was Thoros?
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
No way. I thought he looked familiar. He had more hair in this. Wow. Cool. Yeah, he was a really good antagonist. I love when zombie movies have like another, like a human antagonist and the zombies. Oh, he sucks so hard. But their duet at the end.
Oh, so good.
Oh, so good. But yeah, I loved it. I'm sad I missed out for so long, but I'm very glad I watched it.
I am too.
Yeah, it's very fun. And it's on Hulu. It's streaming on Hulu.
Yeah.
If you have Hulu. So, you know, if you're looking for something to watch that you
Or you could
want,
just
like,
have me serenade
movie?
you. I will do that.
What?
If you want me to just serenade you, I will do that too. Because...
Yeah, Terry is available for parties. He knows all the words by heart, and he's gonna wear a dress, and then I'll be in the Santa, the stripper Santa outfit behind him. We're gonna inverse the roles here. So instead of a woman singing and having men in suspenders and Santa shorts and Santa hats dancing behind her, Terry will be singing in the dress, and I will be dancing behind him. So we're gonna do a little bit of a gender flip here, but you know, Merry Christmas, guys. Anyway, on that note, we really ran the gamut on all of the different ways of Christmas movies. We crossed decades. We crossed emotions.
Yeah, this was quite a range of topics for this episode.
Well, and so I will admit that I haven't always been like a Christmas horror person. But this year I've really like leaned into the fact that Christmas horror fucking rules.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I don't know why I think it just felt like I was like, oh, it's just like cheesy, and Christmas is always cheesy. So there's like, it's probably not that. But then I saw Black Christmas last year and fucking loved it. So I think Black Christmas 2019 was like the beginning of me realizing that Christmas horror slaps. Also, back to Better Watch Out. Sorry, I can't stop thinking about this stupid fucking movie. Ariel Fisher made another good point that Black Christmas and Better Watch Out did very similar things, but everyone said fuck Black Christmas and people love Better Watch Out.
Yep.
So do y'all just hate women? Like, and it's because Black Christmas got a wider release, I bet. But like, it's just so fucking frustrating that like this movie about a shitty little white boy can get all this praise, and then a movie about a similar thing but from a woman's perspective is seen as too political, and I just want to scream. Anyway, someone let me write about those two movies together.
Oh, I would love to see that.
It's probably already been done, but I would like to do an interesting examination of that. Anyway, so that has been what we're watching. If y'all are listening to this on Christmas morning, well, now you have a bunch of films to watch on Christmas night if you want. And show your parents them if you're on your parents. Why not? See what they think.
Yeah. I especially would like to know what they think of Marley Sue singing that time. It's that time of year.
Oh my God.
I've warmed your milk and made your favorite snack. So come on over and unload your sack.
I know, she said that and I was like, oh my God.
Oh my God. And her granny that's like giving her the thumbs up, like she just like has no idea what she's singing about, and it's just so happy.
It's so happy.
And then she dies.
All right, Terry. And that about does it for this week's mini-sode. Before we wrap up though, Terry, who are we talking to on Monday?
We are talking to ourselves. We are breaking down the top 10 films of this year. Horror films, genre films of this year, whatever you want to call it.
We're also going through some of our favorite moments from this year and some of our favorite festival moments. Yeah. We didn't include... our top 10s are movies that came out wide this year that you can access on streaming because we want our favorites to be accessible to everyone. So we have a section about the films we love at festivals, but they're not part of our top 10.
And then also next week for our little cuts, what movie are we watching together, Mary Beth?
We are watching shit. Oh, I forgot. There's like 6,000 different like words in it. What happened to Solange?
What have you done to Solange?
Okay. What have you done to Solange? Jesus Christ. So this is directed by Massimo Dallamano. We're going back to Giallo. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited.
It's on Shudder.
It's on Shudder. Cyrus Cohen has recommended this to me before. And so just to give you a quick little synopsis, a teacher's having an affair with one of his students, takes her out in a boat. They see a knife killing on shore. Other gruesome murders are occurring, and the teacher suspects that he may be the cause of them. There you go.
Yeah.
There it is.
We're back.
It sounds like a Giallo.
It sure does.
We're excited to watch that one and not discuss it. I've been waiting to watch this one, so I cannot wait. So if anyone wants to watch along, watch before New Year. Oh God, that's on New Year's Day. Oh.
It is.
Happy 2021. Excuse me.
I am also going to, I told Mary Beth this, I am going to be taking the dubious journey through the Wrong Turn franchise. I think I'm probably going to talk about like 2 movies each episode because the new one is coming out, or the reboot or the remake or whatever it is coming out in January, supposedly.
Okay, I'm so mad at you because I was like, ever since I think Trace was talking about it, I purchased some of the Wrong Turn movies to do this. And now you make me want to fucking do it. I'm so mad at you.
Do it. I bought like...
Ew, what if we did a Wrong Turn movie watch together?
We should.
Giallo and Wrong Turn. That'll really be appealing content for the listeners.
We're really tapping into the zeitgeist.
really watching those recent movies that really are going to get us that attention.
No, I bought the six pack digital of the Wrong Turn movies. Like,
wait, didn't your brother give you shit because you didn't have Aliens or something?
He
did.
Had all 6 yes, he gave me a whole lot of shit because like he has a connection to my account, and so he's like, all 6 of these Wrong Turn movies come up, and you don't even have fucking Aliens on here. And I'm like, well. I have the Blu-ray of Aliens. Like,
look, if it's for sale for all 6 for like $15,
that's what it was.
Not?
It was like super cheap for all 6 movies, and exactly. I really just wanted to watch the first one. But it was like you buy the first one, you get like the other 5 for like I don't know pennies on the dollar. So
wasn't it like the 6th one is really mean, or the 5th one? There's one that's like really really nasty. I found a copy of Wrong Turn for $1 at Goodwill, and I was like, I gotta buy it. It was like very recently after it was like very soon after we talked to Trace, and I was like, it's a sign. So I bought that in Hostel for $1. It's like, and they're oh my God, that's the best because they're in the we're going off on a tangent. I'm sorry. You know, like remember the Blockbuster cases that you get them with like the little hole in the bottom?
Was it really?
They were like Blockbuster video like DVD cases. So I was like, okay, this is I need them. I don't need them, but they were $1. Like, what can you do?
What can you do?
What can you do? Anyway. So guys, you've heard from us on a multitude of things, from Wrong Turn to a variety of Christmas horror movies. It's been a ride. Merry fucking Christmas.
Merry fucking Christmas.
So, listeners, did you watch a film that we watched and you have thoughts? What's your favorite Christmas horror movie? What's a Christmas horror movie that you watch every year? And do you have suggestions for movies we should talk about? Which franchise should we just decide to watch and like just fall down a rabbit hole in? Send us an email at scaredforlifepodcast@gmail.com, or you can reach out directly to us on Twitter. I am at MB McAndrews.
And I'm at Gaily Dreadful.
And of course, please make sure to follow the podcast on Twitter at Scarred Podcast.
And don't forget to review, rate, and subscribe like the 3 we got in, especially if you want to see me. I'm not even going to keep this going. Let's move on.
Wait, how have we been recording for almost 50 minutes? God damn.
Have we really? So much for a fucking mini-so. Jesus Christ.
Sorry, guys. We just went Christmas horror. Anyway, happy Christmas. Happy holidays. Thank you to Steve Arnold for our artwork. Thank you to Sean Keller for our music. Thank you all for listening and coming along with us on this ridiculous Yuletide ride. Stay creepy. Have a lovely holiday.
Until next time.
Somebody please When you pick up some scratches, cause you want a fun break, the playful way you scratch is the next choice you should make. You can make your dog's leg kick and scratch with that. You could even grab a laser pointer and use your cat. You can build yourself a homemade scratching machine, or use a piece from your chess set. Go ahead, grab the queen. Scratch like a DJ with your record player. A cactus could scratch off that scratchable layer. Cause when it comes to scratching, there's a million playful ways. Thanks to scratchers from the California Lottery, a little play can make your day.
Please play responsibly. Must be 18 years or older to purchase, play, or claim.
As a person with a very deep voice, I'm hired all the time for advertising campaigns. But a deep voice doesn't sell B2B, and advertising on the wrong platform doesn't sell B2B either. That's why if you're a B2B marketer, you should use LinkedIn ads. LinkedIn has the targeting capabilities to help you reach the world's largest professional audience. That's right, over 70 million decision makers all in one place. All the big wigs, then medium wigs. Also small wigs who are on the path to becoming big wigs. Okay, that's enough about wigs. LinkedIn ads allows you to focus on getting your B2B message to the right people. So, does that mean you should use ads on LinkedIn instead of hiring me, the man with the deepest voice in the world? Yes. Yes, it does. Get started today and see why LinkedIn is the place to be to be. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply.
Acast powers the world's best podcasts. Here's a show that we recommend.
What is The Briefing Room?
It's a behind-the-scenes look at how the criminal justice system works and the lives of the people within that system.
If you love true crime, well, these are the real people who do the job every day of making sure justice is served.
Hi, I'm Detective Dave.
I'm Detective Dan. Together we have decades of experience in local law enforcement, a profession that we think is often misunderstood.
So we're going to explore how to do it right, and we won't shy away from when it's done wrong. These are stories you'll hear nowhere else. Unique, frank, and unvarnished.
From the team that brought you Small Town Dicks, this is The Briefing Room. Episode 1 drops on August 30th. We'll meet you in the briefing room.
Acast helps creators launch, grow, and monetize their podcasts everywhere. Acast.com.